Hey guys, welcome to Tuesday, Scottie the Trainer Tuesdays, and I am Scottie the Trainer. All this month I've been talking to you about the different characteristics of a champion. Now, these are not inclusive, all the possible characteristics of what it takes to be a champion, but it's some of the characteristics that I've studied and learned and even believe I've put in practice in my life and that I've noticed in many other people's lives as well. To be a champion, it's a powerful thing. The world needs champions. Your family needs a champion. Your work, your job, it needs a champion. And many times you're the one that's been sent or been placed in that particular place by your decisions and your destiny, your calling, the universe, God, however you want to put it, that still small voice inside of you that has led you to the place of where you are. So over the last few weeks, I've set on a course to talk about these characteristics of a champion. So we've talked about how champions always find a way. When their back's against the wall, they find a way to make it happen. They find a way to win. We talked about how champions know how to maximize a moment, to be able to realize when is the time to make the move, when is the time to speak your piece, when is the time to not speak your piece, to hold your peace, to keep your mouth closed. That's part of being a champion as well. So they find a way, they know how to maximize the moment. Last week I talked about they're able to invest in other people. Remember we talked about that. You can check my other videos, the 4 steps to investing. I'll do it, you watch, let's do it together. You do it, I'll watch, and then I'm out of here. We talked about that. Check out my other videos on Google Plus, on Facebook, on YouTube. Don't forget to check out my YouTube channel. Just type in my name, Scottie Packer. You'll go straight to YouTube. You can also type in hashtag Scottie the Trainer. That'll lead you there as well. And by the way, those of you that are subscribed and you watch the videos, the numbers have just been climbing up, 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 up. I can't tell you from the bottom of my heart how much I sincerely appreciate that, helping me take what motivation, inspiration, and education out to other people. The web and social media is so full of conspiracy theories and negativity. And I want to be able to just be a calm in the middle of the storm, to come and impress upon you some inspiration to help you get through just another day. So here's what I want to talk about today. The next characteristic of a champion is champions know how to use what's left, not what's lost. Champions know how to use what's left and not what's lost. So let me share with you a couple of things here. So I wanted to talk about a specific person, a person that I believe everyone knows. If you don't know and you Google it, he's going to pop up. And that is Michael Jordan. I love the story of Michael Jordan, 6-time champion, played for the Chicago Bulls, basketball star, arguably one of the best that's ever played the game. And Michael Jordan said when he was giving his statistics one time, he didn't give all the great, wonderful statistics of the championships that he won. You know what he talked about? He said he had missed over 9,000 shots when he was playing basketball. 9,000 shots. He said that in his career, he had lost 300 games. 300 games. Now, somebody who lost 300 games, you might say, that doesn't sound like a champion at all. Oh, but wait, the numbers get even crazier. He said 26 times his coach had designed a play to put the ball in his hands in the last fleeting moments of a game. 26 times he would go for that final shot and he missed it. 26 times. But yet, we still hear mutterings about Michael Jordan being the best that ever was. You know why? Because he was a champion in spite of the 9,000 shots that he missed. The 9,000 shots he lost. Never get those back. But he's a champion because of the shots that he did make. He's not a champion because of the 300 games that he lost. Those times came and went. He was a champion because of the games that he did win. He wasn't a champion because of the 26 times that he had a chance to win the game in the fleeting final moments. But he was a champion because of all the times he did have the ball in the fleeting moments and he hit that final shot. Champions don't sit and dwell on what they've lost. They dwell on what they have left. And I started thinking about Michael Jordan, so I wanted to mention that, and I think that that's powerful. And then there's a story that's given to us. You can find it in the New Testament scriptures. It's a great story. People can tell you about it, even if they don't know much about the Bible. And I'm not here to try to make you a advocate of the Bible, but I do believe that there are principles. And you remember the story of 5,000 people that came to Jesus. And they're there listening to his teachings all day long. And they got hungry. Because people back in historical times, just like today, they get hungry. 5,000 people. And Jesus had no food to feed them. But there was a little boy who showed up. And he had a few loaves of bread and a few fish. And I want you to notice that even though those disciples that were around Jesus, they came and said, well, there's not enough here to feed this multitude. And that was absolutely true. But what were they doing? They were looking at what they didn't have. They were looking at what was lost. Time, food, money. But what did Jesus do? As a champion, and the illustration and the principle that I want you to take out of this is that he didn't look at what was lost. He looked at what was left. And of course, the story goes that he multiplied those loaves and fish and fed the 5,000. There's a principle in that for me. There's a principle in that for you, what you're going through today. You see, you might have been through divorce. You might have been through a custody battle. You could have been through bankruptcy. But the strength is not in what's lost. The strength in your life is what you have left. That endurance that got you through it. Even though you may have been through scrapes, scares, and scars, whatever's in you left, whatever spirit you have inside of you that's left, that's what causes you to be a champion. And for all the people that you are unable to help or impact or assist on your job or in your life or in your family, now as a champion, you take those few loaves of bread and those few fish and you multiply it and you start helping and feeding the other people that are around you. That's what champions do. They don't sit around and talk about the house that they lost or the car that they lost or the money that they lost. They start looking at where they are now. What do I have left? And out of that comes the work and the multiplication and the motivation and the inspiration and the education to reach out and help other people. So I wanted to talk about Michael Jordan, which I did. And I wanted to share with you the little story of the loaves and fish, which I did. But then I also wanted to read to you a story. And I'm going to close out my remarks with this. This is a beautiful, beautiful story about a man by the name of Horatio G. Spafford. Now, you may not know who this man is, but years ago, back in history, he was a lawyer and a businessman. He had a wife and 5 children. Now, the story tells that his wife was on a ship, a cruise ship in the Atlantic. And that ship ended up running into another iron industrial ship. And the ship was so damaged that the wife gathered together the children and the people that were on that boat. And the boat began to sink into the cold, dark Atlantic water. Now what happened was, the tragedy was that the 5 daughters ended up drowning and they died. The wife, Miss Spofford, she lived. The time came that she cabled her husband and told him what was going on. So her husband, he had to get a ship, charter a boat to leave where he was to get to where she was. And the day came that when he was traveling on the Atlantic, that same route that the previous ship was on, that the captain came to him and said, Mr. Spofford, I want you to know that this area right here is where that boat ran into that iron ship. And this is probably the part where your daughters died. Now, Mr. Spofford could have fell down and become overwhelmed with grief, and might have even become so overwhelmed he could have said, why would I even live? But in honor of his children, he sat down and he penned these words. Listen to this. When peace like a river attendeth my way, when sorrows like sea billows roll, whatever my lot, you have taught me to say, it is well with my soul. Mr. Spofford met up with his wife, and over time they gave birth to another child. Her name was Bertha, and Bertha Spofford Vester was her name. She was born after the tragedy, and she said that her father in that moment, instead of looking at what he had lost, yes, he had lost children, yes, he felt the pain, yes, he grieved. But he didn't write those words, it is well with my soul, because of what he was losing and had lost. But it was out of what he had left. Champions don't cry over what is lost, because what's lost is gone. What's past is past. But champions, like the phoenix, go into the ashes and they sift through it and they say, what do I have left? And they rise from the ashes and they reach out and they help other people. That is a powerful mark, earmark of what it takes to be a champion. Let me finish this by saying all of us have lost. But let me ask you, what do you have left? You missed 9,000 shots, but can you make one more? You lost 300 games, but can you win one more? You've missed 26 shots in the last 3 seconds of a game, but can you shoot the ball one more time? Have you lost friends? Have you lost family? Do you have thousands of people or hundreds of people or maybe a couple of mouths to feed around you? Do you have enough strength? Look around. Somewhere there's some loaves and some fish that you have. You're not a champion because of what you've lost. Not on this Tuesday. You're a champion because of what you have left. And I'm Scottie the trainer. And that's how I see it.